The Easter holiday continues as Christians remember the meeting between the risen Christ and his disciples. Nigeria assumes the leadership of the Africa Union Peace and Security Council. Hundreds of suspected criminals renounce crime and surrendered their arms to the police. And Winnie Mandela dies at 81. Hello to you, happy Easter Monday and welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Joseph Johnson. Reading with me tonight is Michael Olale in Lagos and Salmatu Umar Abdullahi is in Sokoto for us. Of course, let's begin with the season's story. Easter Monday is celebrated as the day Jesus Christ met his disciples in Galilee to confirm his resurrection and victory over death. To mark the day, a special service was held in Abuja. Basi Taikbang was there and now reports.
The resurrection of Jesus Christ on the third day, the Bible says, completes the cycle of redemption. Thus, Christians say symbolizes victory over death and gives assurance of salvation to mankind.
Without resurrection, I think our faith would have been in vain.
So, the most important significance of Easter is that it's a celebration of peace that God has brought to the world through Jesus Christ.
Service features special prayer for unity, love and peaceful coexistence in the nation, and for Christians to forgive one another as Jesus Christ commanded his disciples.
Died and resurrected. He brought peace to mankind. And it's so significant to Nigeria at this point in time. Looking at the situation Nigerian is, we need peace, we need unity. And for us to be able to move forward, peace is what everybody, both the religious leader and individual.
Christians are therefore advised to allow the essence of Easter to guide their ways. Basi Taikbang, NTA News.
And while government ministries, departments and agencies remain under lock and key, recreational centers in Abuja metropolis were a beehive of activity in commemoration of Easter. Musa Abubakar reports.
This is what recreational centers looked like during festivities such as Easter. For most Christians, the day not only provides opportunity to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, but offers opportunity to spend quality time with loved ones.
There is a spirit of Easter here, as families throng this amusement park to have fun. Like many here, Mrs. Oyeta Michael says the Easter celebration is the right time to bond with family and get together with friends.
Celebrate our Easter here. Christ died and resurrected on Easter Day, so we came to celebrate Easter. It's been fun all through. It's been fun all through.
My boy, you can see him. Yeah. I've not had rest, and we're here. He has seen Wonderland, and I'm happy that he's happy. So
yesterday was Easter. Today is Easter Monday. We are here to celebrate. We are still in the mood of celebration.
I decided to bring my family here so that at least we can have some fun, and you know, it's good once in a while you go out with your family and make them happy.
The warm place and...
For civil servants, the two-day public holiday offers time to rest and recharge to serve better. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Fun times. Still more on the Easter holiday. Serafina Okun also went to town. Let's see what she brought back.
From the very young to the elderly, families rolled out their picnic mats to relax and unwind in the spirit of the season.
Do you wish to do this every day?
Yes.
So we are here for get together It's public holiday coupled with my kid's birthday. Yeah, I'm the big uncle, so we had to come and celebrate them.
Basically, what you do is have fun and spend time with loved ones. Basically, that's what you do during the holidays, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
It's a mixed grill of sorts for the fun seekers. While some use the opportunity to mark birthdays, for others, it is an avenue for that perfect pre-wedding shoot. For Anthony Melvin, there won't be a better time than now to giving back to the society in the spirit of the season, as he entertained families and fun seekers for free.
We are giving back to society by making sure everybody that comes to this park, the Millennium Park today, they have fun.
Our camera lens also picked this set of friends who just graduated and decided to give themselves a treat. As expected, the memories of these moments were aptly captured by photographers who make brisk business with their lens. But sometimes the story of making money could turn sour for some business owners here. A typical example is the wine game. But like they say, enjoy the fun while it lasts, as work is expected to resume shortly. Serafina Okon, NT News.
All right, away from that to some security matters now. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has commended the gallantry of frontline personnel of the Nigerian Air Force currently serving in the Northeast. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Vice Marshal Olatokunbo Adeshonya, indicates that this was a special lunch for NAF personnel with a view to sustaining their morale for enhanced operational effectiveness. Commander Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole, Air Vice Marshal Idi Lubo, who stood in for the Air Chief, commended the gallantry and dedication of NAF personnel towards combating insurgency in the country, urging them not to rest on their oars. Recounting the successes recorded in degrading insurgency in the Northeast so far, Air Vice Marshal Idi Lubo emphasized the need for the efforts by the personnel to completely eradicate the menace in the country. Nigeria will assume the one-month rotational chairmanship of the African Union Peace and Security Council from the 1st of April. The permanent representative to the AU, Ambassador Bankole Adeoye, takes over from Ambassador Zakariao Mega, the permanent representative of the Republic of Niger, who held the chairmanship for the month of March 2018. The Peace and Security Council is the standing decision-making organ of the African Union decisions, particularly in matters relating to regional and continental peace and security. Nigeria's chairmanship of the African Union Peace and Security for the month of April will focus on addressing the threats posed by nuclear weapons and the imperative of preventing terrorists from accessing weapons of mass destruction, as well as championing the 2018 AU annual theme on anti-corruption under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. The PSC will explore strategies towards serving the Lake Chad, as well as fashioning a comprehensive approach towards the prevention of the ideology of hate, genocide and hate crimes on the continent. In the meantime, the Nigerian Army says it has extended exercise Ayem Akpatuma for 2 months in Taraba State. A statement by Director Army Public Relations Brigadier General Texas Chukwu indicates that the expansion becomes necessary in order to further consolidate on the gains achieved so far and due to calls by Nigerians, as it would facilitate the Nigerian Army's effort of ridding the affected areas of militants and other criminal elements. It adds that the general public, particularly residents of Taraba State, are therefore requested to cooperate with the troops by giving useful and timely information to enable them carry out their constitutional duties effectively. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Bokete Ba, says the Navy is dynamic in developing superior strategy to address emerging criminality in the nation's vast maritime environment. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Nigeria's vast waterway, with an Atlantic coastline border of about 583 kilometers, is seen as blessing due to the fact that it enhances crude oil exploration, transportation and fishery. On the other hand, it also has different maritime security challenges. For instance, an NNPC report indicates that between January and September 2015, Nigeria lost about 48 billion naira to crude oil theft. The criminals are not having it easy, however, these days, as the Navy continues to counter their moves. About 22 vessels involved in different crimes were arrested in 2017.
Our maritime environment is not getting any safer, especially with the upcoming socio-political activities.
The National Security Advisor, Babangana Mungunu, reiterates Nigeria's resolve to consolidate on the improved security in the Gulf of Guinea by taking the lead.
I insisted on having the Gulf of Guinea summit in Abuja was because we really pressed for Nigeria to take over the chairmanship of the Gulf of Guinea, being the only blue water navy in the whole of the Gulf of Guinea.
The new two-star general, the coordinator counter-terrorism, Office of the National Security Advisor, Yem Musa, has between August 2016 to date launched 4 national action plans on counter-terrorism, prevention and countering extreme violent extremism, particularly in the Northeast. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Now let's take you to Kaduna State, where a total of 350 armed robbery suspects, kidnappers and cattle rustlers have renounced crime and surrendered their arms to the Kaduna State Police Command. Ahmed Mohammed Usman reports that the event took place at Anchal village in Kubau local government area of Kaduna State.
The development followed a 2-week ultimatum given to all suspected criminals in Kaduna State by the Commissioner of Police, Austin Iwa, on his assumption of duty in the state recently. The renouncement of violence and crime by the repentant suspect was further strengthened by their oath in groups, with the holy books promising not to go back to crime.
From today, I will not go back to armed robbery and other related crimes.
The Kaduna State Commissioner of Police says the success is a result of series of meetings with different community leaders as part of community policing initiative embarked upon by the command.
Some of them have volunteered to bring arms back, but not in public. Through the government's disarmament program, the state government, the Kaduna State government, has a robust disarmament program that is being planned. Through that program, we'll be able to integrate them into the normal society.
Mr. Austin Iwa says the command will sustain its interaction with various communities for greater fit in the fight against criminality in the state. In Kaduna, Ahmad Mahmoud Usman, NTN News.
Well, do stay with us here on NTN Network News. Up ahead, Nigerians' caution on social media postings. We'll bring you details of this and more after the break. Thanks for staying with us. South Africa anti-apartheid campaigner Winnie Mandela has died. An apartheid stalwart and former wife of Nelson Mandela died at the age of 81, according to her personal assistant. And as Africa and the world takes in the news of her death, late Winnie Mandela is described as a symbol of the African woman's resilience. Ado Adamu also looks at the life and times of Winnie Mandela.
Born in Bitizina in the Eastern Cape on 26 September 1963, Winnie Madikizela was the fourth of 8 children to her parent. She moved to Johannesburg to study social work, and fate joined her with a lawyer and anti-apartheid activist Nelson Mandela in 1957. A year later, they were married. However, they could not stay together to enjoy their marriage, as the struggle to liberalize their country was more demanding. The estranged husband was arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment in 1963, and she was also jailed 5 years later. They were married for 38 years, but they were mostly separated as a result of her husband being in prison before their divorce. So who is Winnie Mandela to African women?
I had a rare opportunity in life to, the first time I actually saw her and met her was in Beijing when we went for the famous Powerful Women Conference. A woman of courage, a woman of strength, a woman of purpose. You all recall that for 26 going to 27 years that her husband was held captive as a result of apartheid in South Africa. She kept the fire burning.
Winnie Mandela was a great African woman, a great crusader against apartheid, a woman that fought side by side with her husband to free South Africa from slavery, from apartheid. She was a great activist. Africa has lost a really brilliant woman, a great woman of knowledge.
African women, politicians across the continent and the world indeed agreed that Winnie Mandela, who passed away at the age of 81 at the Netcare Milk Park Hospital in Johannesburg, has undeniably made her mark in South Africa's anti-apartheid struggle, and her impact and contribution would continue to be a reference point for a long time to come. In Abuja, Adwa Demwalso, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has described the passing away of South African anti-apartheid icon, Mrs. Winnie Mandela, as a huge loss to Africa, adding that she was a woman of uncommon determination, steadfastness and perseverance. A statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, indicates that while commiserating with the family of the late anti-apartheid campaigner, the government and people of South Africa, President Buhari urged them to be consoled by the knowledge that the late Winnie Mandela's contributions to ending apartheid will not be forgotten. The president prayed that God Almighty will comfort all those who mourn the departed and grant her soul eternal rest. Now, with the increasing cases of hacking of social media users' information and the unauthorized use of such data by some organizations, cybersecurity experts have advised Nigerians to apply extreme caution on what they post on social media. The experts gave the advice on NTS Good Morning Nigeria while discussing how much Nigerians post on the social media and its attendant consequences. Garba Mohammed Natala brings us details.
Despite advantages of the advent of the social media, the increasing cases of misuse of personal information continues to open users to more threats and vulnerabilities. Cyber experts on Good Morning Nigeria say one of the best cure for social media users is self-control and safeguarding information shared online.
For example, Facebook. Facebook does not create any content. Who creates the content? It is you and I. There is another challenge. In today's world, people now use the information of social media to hack the electorate, hack the person who is going to put their thumbprint. And this is a very, very big issue.
The cybersecurity law seems to be an orphan. You know, nobody is really monitoring. I can assure you, sir, that there is a lot of hacking activities going on as we speak.
They acknowledge that though social media has come to stay, regulatory bodies saddled with the responsibility to monitor cyber activities should as well live to their responsibility to check cybercrime and misuse of user data by individuals and organizations. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Ta'ala, NTA News.
Now, let's talk music, because music is an art form and cultural activity that has been used over the years, running into decades, as a unifying tool. But this time, the rhythm is channeled towards kicking out corruption of all shades in the country, as artists came together to preach the anti-corruption message. Let's hear from Aliyu Tuku.
And they give a tower. You just walk out go the motor. Now you got the arrange people. My brother, you adjust to this side. When they tell you to adjust, you see, don't sit too close to the window because of wind. You might fall out.
It was an exciting day full of fun, laughter, dance and music at the Unity Fountain in the heart of Abuja, as top-notch musicians and comedians used their talents to educate Nigerians, especially youth, on the need to stand up against corruption. organized by a group of comedians and musicians, supported by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The idea of the concert is to support the administration's fight against corruption in order to develop the nation.
Don't put the problem only on the president. Ask your senator you vote for. Ask your local government chairman. Ask your governor.
Corruption must die. That's the voice of every Nigerian right now, because we should not be where we are today.
We're here to tell everyone that corruption is what has been bringing our country under.
Tag as Kill Corruption Concert 2.0. The campaign is to be taken to all tertiary institutions in the country. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
Martin Luther King Jr. family reacts to bribery allegation. Let's join Michael in Lagos for details. Michael.
Good evening, Joseph, and a warm welcome to Lagos. Contrary to comments and reports making the rounds on social media that President Muhammadu Buhari paid $3.5 million to receive National Black Excellence and Exceptional African Leadership Award from Martin Luther King family. A member of the late United States Civil Rights Advocate family, Isaac Faris Jr., has set the record straight in a chat with journalists in Lagos. Musa Toliat has details.
Isaac Faris Jr., who is a nephew to late Martin Luther King Jr., and a former chief executive officer turned senior fellow at the Martin Luther King Center, said the allegation that money changed hands to sway the award in favor of President Buhari is not only malicious, but insulting and slanderous.
This fake news, this lie, this slander on the character, on my good character, is a lie. Anything that I've done here and said about your president came from my heart and my brain, not based on any compensation or money or in exchange for anything.
Faris Jr. stressed that the award was based on merit and conviction by the delegation that President Buhari's war against corruption is on course.
None of us throughout the three branches are buyable or bribable. We don't do things for money. We do things on principle. I'm insulted. In Nigeria, anyone in Nigeria should be ashamed of embarrassing and slandering our good name. We came here to honor your country, your people, to establish a new bond between America and Africans.
The Martin Luther King delegation has since returned to the United States. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
In the spirit of Easter celebration, Christians have been enjoined to take advantage of God's love and kindness to humanity and rededicate themselves to seek God the more. The pastor, household of God, Reverend Chris Okotie, stated this at a church service to mark the resurrection of Jesus Christ in Lagos. Ingino John Adams tells us more.
It was a time to reflect on the sacrifice made by Jesus Christ on the cross of Calvary to save mankind. Reverend Chris Okotie, who anchored his message on the Gospel of John chapter 20, reminded the congregation that the power needed for salvation has already been demonstrated by Christ on the cross.
We can summon the dynamism of the divine operative within us through the mechanical externalization of our faith to impact on our nation and to engender hope. Anything that we desire is possible because our faith is predicated on the finished work of the cross.
A drama demonstrating the great sacrifice which gave mankind the assurance of salvation was presented. The pastor and congregation used the occasion to worship God and celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The atmosphere was filled with love as birthdays were marked. The major high point of the day was celebration as the congregation embraced the love of God with various dance steps. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. A break beckons at this time. The news returns shortly. Please stay with us.
You're still watching NTN Network News with me, Joseph Johnson. Let's focus on business now. Nigerian capital market ends first quarter of 2018 strong after a late gain in some index heavyweights. Details of these and more with Vivian Idekbefo on Business News.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The newly constituted Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is set to hold its first meeting for 2018 on Tuesday and Wednesday to review developments in the nation's economy since its last meeting in November 2017. It will also decide on the monetary policy direction for the next 2 months. Expectations are high, with some financial analysts canvassing the need for the MPC to review the almost 2-year-old monetary policy rate downwards, which they say will boost lending and enhance economic growth.
We are foreseeing the fact that the MPR is going to be dropped. I say so because you discover that the inflation rate is gradually dropping and dropping all the way. And if it is dropping, then there is no reason why MPR has to remain where it is.
On the other hand, those for retaining the monetary policy rate at 14%, cash reserve ratio at 22.5%, and liquidity ratio at 30%, believe it will enhance the consistent drop in the nation's inflation rate in pursuit of price stability. The decision of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting will be largely influenced by domestic and external economic developments. Meanwhile, investors in the Nigerian equities market ended the first quarter of 2018 with a net capital gain of 1.38 trillion naira. The all-share index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange posted an average year-to-date return of 8.53% for Nigerian equities in the quarter under review. This performance places Nigerian equities on the trajectory to sustain the bullishness that dominated transactions in 2017 and a double-digit return projection by many investment firms. Equities closed 2017 with full-year average return of 42.30%, ranking within the top 10 best-performing equities across the world. The equities had in January this year hit an all-time high market capitalization of 15.3 trillion naira, while the all-share index rose to 43,041.54 points, its highest index points since October 2008. The markets, however, slowed down in March with average month-on-month decline of 4.21%. And that's the size of our package. From here, the rest of the bulletin in just a moment.
Vivian Idekbefo for us on Business News. Now let's join Salmatu in Sokoto for more reports. Happy holidays, Salmatu.
Thank you, Joseph. Compliments of the season and a warm welcome to Sith of the Caliphate, Sokoto. Nigerians have been urged to embrace peace, respect for one another, be humble and repent from committing sin. The Bishop of Sokoto Catholic Diocese, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, made the call during the Easter Sunday church service organized by the Nigerian Federation of Catholic Students, Osman Danfodio University, Sokoto. Aminu Bello Kauje completes the report.
Easter Sunday is celebrated as Jesus rose from the dead after 3 days of crucifixion. In Sokoto, hundreds of Christian worshippers gathered to celebrate and appreciate Jesus' sacrifice to mankind. The Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, who spoke on the significance of Easter, said, Jesus Christ died on the cross to salvate mankind from the sins he has committed. The Bishop therefore called on Nigerians to love one another, live in peace regardless of their religious differences, and to be good citizens of Nigeria.
It is actually on the resurrection that Christianity stands, but it is also a call
time for us to abandon our old ways and to think a bit more clearly about how to make our communities and our society, especially Nigeria, a much better society.
The bishop therefore enjoined youths to read hard, pray hard and work hard to take Nigeria and Nigerians to the promised land. The President, Nigerian Federation of Catholic Students, Kadani Pius, appreciated the bishop for attending Easter celebration, adding that the bishop's presence is a mark of victory to the Catholic family. A prayer session was held led by the bishop, praising Jesus Christ and appreciating Easter Sunday. In Sokoto, Amini Belaka Oje, NTA News.
Zamfara State Governor Abdul Aziz Yari Abubakar has directed security personnel to shoot to death any person found in illegal possession of armed firearms in the state. He gave the directives while condoling people of Anka Emirate over the recent attack at Bawandaji village in the state. Halur Muhammad Umar presents the details.
Some gunmen had last week attacked Bawandaji village in Anka local government area of Zamfara state for 2 consecutive days, where they killed over 30 persons. Speaking at the Emir of Anka's palace, Zamfara State Governor Abdulaziz Yari condemned the attack and directed security agents in the state not to spare anyone found in illegal possession of firearms or associating with criminals.
I have directed them, anyone found carrying AK-47, that person is not supposed to exist in our soil because he has killed many. By wearing that gun, he has not authority to wear. Definitely we believe he has killed many, so he has no reason for existing anymore.
The governor, who advised people to always provide security agencies with relevant information, also threatened to dethrone any traditional ruler caught harboring bandits in his domain. Responding, the Emir of Anka, Alhaji Attahir Muhammad Ahmad, stressed the need for security agents to be more alive to their responsibility of protecting lives and property of the people. The monarch, who noted that the security problem bedeviling Zamfara is far beyond Fulani farmers' clashes, however, called on Fulani leaders to call their followers to order. Governor Abdulaziz Yari later met behind closed door with heads of security agencies in the state. In Gusau, Halliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
That's our package from Sokoto. It's back to Joseph for more on the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Salamatu. The Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Agriculture and Rural Development says the National Assembly is willing to support the Bank of Agriculture to attract investment into the sector. This was when the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, appeared before the Joint Committee over financial constraints faced by the Bank of Agriculture. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Zumba reports.
Purpose of the meeting is to get contributions from stakeholders towards addressing the challenges faced by the Bank of Agriculture.
The Constitution regarding our roles and responsibilities, in relation to the executive is very clear.
Before now, the bank has always been accommodated in the federal, budget for its current and capital expenditure. However, since the bank has been generating income on its own, that funding window ceased.
The Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, said the situation is of grave concern to the ministry.
If we don't have a solid Bank of Agriculture and commercial banks are lending at 18, 25, 30%, definitely they cannot support agriculture.
In another development, the National Assembly's second budget hearing ended with various civil society organizations making inputs.
Some international organizations are more optimistic. For example, World Bank forecast $60, IMF forecast 48.5.
There was talk late last year, by the key officials of the executive about returning to the January to December budget calendar.
Most of the capital budget component was being supported by borrowing. The implementation is 50–60%.
Participants are optimistic that the National Assembly will review some parts of the budget proposals in favor of education and health sector. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Zumba, NT News.
Well, let's go for another commercial break. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says survival of Nigeria lies in the success of the fight against corruption. He stated this during the 16th inaugural lecture series of Nasarawa State University. Kafi Suraj Abdullahi has the details.
If there is anything that Nigerians would like to see is success, it's nothing but the fight against corruption, which many experts believe is a major cause of the country's setback. This is the reason the fight against corruption is carrying more weight, with academics joining the crusade in their own way, as measures to combat corruption were highlighted at the 16th inaugural lecture of Nasarawa State University, KAFBI. In a message, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government has strengthened mechanisms that are capable of collapsing the pillars of corruption.
It is our determination to ensure that we do more for Nigerians with less by being prudent with the resources entrusted in our care.
The submission of the inaugural lecture was that ground corruption must be tackled.
For us to actually have a headway in this nation, we must attack high-profile corruption.
The way we choose our leaders is corrupt. So we need to reform our politics.
If the political leadership is willing and ready, I'm sure we should be able to succeed.
Good leader, good people, great nation, corruption, constitutionalism and sustenance of democracy in Nigeria was the theme for the 16th inaugural lecture of Nasarawa State University, KAFI. From KAFI, Suraj Abdullahi, NTA News.
The head of ECOWAS mission, Amos Sawyer, has appealed for calm amongst stakeholders to ensure that the credible process at the polls translates into results. He said this while presenting preliminary reports of the runoff presidential election to the general public and the media.
Urges the National Election Commission to approach the concluding phases of the process with fairness, openness, and transparency until the proclamation of the results.
He commended the stakeholders for the smooth conduct of the electoral process and urged them to maintain their commitment to a peaceful outcome.
Diligently and expedite action on the tallying and announcement of results in order to avoid creating anxiety within the polity.
The head of mission also urged all candidates to accept the will of the people of Sierra Leone and to seek redress legally in court rather than resort to violence. Nigeria's female engineers have raised their voices in support of women parity and emancipation in the country. This came to the fore in Abuja at a seminar on praise for progress as it concerns women engineering, technology and politics. Basi Taikban reports.
It is on record that women contribute greatly to the stability, progress and development of any nation. As first teachers, women's role in society's transition from a pre-literate to a literate level is undeniably the basic education. Thus facts, Nigerian female engineers agree no less.
And enlighten our women to come out, to love ourselves, to strive to be able to demystify our challenges.
Speakers after speakers stress the need for women to rise and take their position in the society.
We have the number, and that's our greatest strength. Let's use that number. With that positive change we are looking for, we shall get it.
They should be able to come out, muster the courage to come out and press for positions that are available there for them.
Key indicators from religious barriers to cultural and political factors were identified.
The end of it is that women seems to be weak, but not weak in implementation, not weak in taking position. So what we do is we encourage them to succeed. And the bottom line of it is that we are doing ourselves good if we allow them to succeed.
The theme for 2018 International Women's Day celebration is Press for Progress.
It was identified that women themselves are the problem they have in the society. And the sooner they start protecting each other's back, the easier for them to press for progress. Basi Taikban, NTA News.
And that does it on this special edition of NTN Network News this Easter Monday. From me and the entire team, it's always good to have you on board. Good night.